Welcome to the realm of magic and mystery, classic horror and sci-fi. You are now entering the House of the Unusual podcast with your hosts, Eddie and Joe. Welcome all you cool ghouls and friendly fiends to the House of the Unusual podcast. I'm your host, Joe Pavlansky. With me, as always, are my good buddies, Eddie Guevara, Chuck Caputo, and his awesome wife, Cheri Caputo. What's up, everyone?
How you doing, guys?
What's up? How are you? How's everybody out there?
Oh, everybody is fantastic. We are counting down to the Christmas, the day of Christmas, man. We're getting close. We're
close.
Yeah, it's Tuesday, December 6th that we are recording this right now.
Yep.
So we're less than 20 days away. That's pretty cool, man. And I go on vacation from work in less than 2 weeks, so I'm happy about that.
Oh, nice. Good.
So,
that is nice.
So that is awesome. So I hope everyone out there has got most of their shopping done. If not, guys, we got some great stuff for you. If you are some of those last minute shoppers, or you got some people on your list that you just don't know, who can I get for? What can I get for? They got everything. They're like Eddie. They got 7 of everything. Well, guys, we got some great sites for you to go to, and I'm going to name a few here, so make sure you got your pen and paper ready or re-listen to this podcast. We'll also have some of them in the show notes, too, but our first one is Stupid Comics Magazine. That's STOOPID, comicsmagazine.com. We've been pushing this comic since it first came out, and we found out about it. It is absolutely fantastic. It is kind of a mix of Far Side and Cracked all rolled into one. Black and white. It is absolutely hilarious. They are currently on issue number 7. There's 8 total because they started with 0. And I messaged Ski on our forum board the other day, and he messaged back because we were all wondering what's going on with number 8, and he keeps saying there's stuff going on with it. So the millions of fans out there wanted to know what was going on. So this was his reply. He said, Stupid Comics Magazine will be back in an all-new digest size format. He said, smaller size, but still the same dumb laughs that only one comics magazine can print. So for Stupid Comics Magazine, we'll see you next year in 2023. Also look for something special coming from Mr. Ski himself. So we are absolutely excited about that. Stay tuned to the podcast and the forum site for updates on that. And as soon as we find something out, we will let everybody out there know as well. Also, if you're like us and you like cool books about magic and mentalism and all kinds of stuff like that, mail order mystery stuff, this site is perfect. They got tons of books, on psychics, Houdini, SS Adams, you name it, it's on there. And that is 1878press.com. Our buddy Dave Haversat runs the site, and check it out because a lot of those books are on sale. And once they sell out, that's it, man. You'll find them for, 3-4 times the amount on eBay. And you don't want to pay those prices when you could pay the good prices right on the website. So make sure you check that out. Also, if you're looking for some sea monkey stuff, go to sea-monkeys.com. Tons of sea monkey stuff there if you're a beginner or you just want to add to your sea monkey aquarium. Well, this is the site to go to. They also have some x-ray specs. They have the invisible goldfish, which you definitely want to check out. Some different aquariums. If you want to add some more sea monkeys to your family, you could get them there. You could get some extra food, all that good stuff. There's t-shirts. Just go check it out because there's too much to mention on here. And that's sea-monkeys.com. Also, mymoviemonsters.com. This is your one-stop shop for anything classic monster. And there's even some contemporary stuff on there too. But it's home of Scary Monsters magazine and the newly released Castle of Frankenstein. Now, guys, you might want to go to this website to order your magazine because one of the distributors that they went through closed down 2 of their sites. So there was there's kind of an issue with some of the distributions going to Barnes and Nobles and some of the other bookstores. So if you don't see it at your local bookstore like you usually do, make sure you raise a fit. Bring your pitchforks and your torches there, and tell them you want Scary Monsters magazine and you want Castle of Frankenstein. And once they kick you out for bringing that stuff into the store, go to mymoviemonsters.com and you could order everything there, plus all the back issues. And they got some really cool toys at that site as well. So that's just some stuff that you could look at for Christmas time, or if you want to send me, Eddie, Chuck, and Cheri some goodies from that site, feel free to do that as well. So, all right, after pushing our unapologetic online stores to everybody, I'm going to turn it over to Chuck and Cheri and see what's new with them. So, what's up, guys?
All right, yeah, no, doing pretty. Got back from a magic show, I guess, about 2 hours ago. I packed it up and it went real well. And I just came home. Cheri made a batch of gluten-free
cranberry orange muffins.
Yeah, so that was a treat.
Good.
I was really glad. And we got some other news. Our son Michael, who got married a year ago, he's 30, to his wife Cassie. We are going to be grandparents.
Oh, congratulations, Grandma and Grandpa.
So they're going to have a reveal coming up this Saturday, and Cheri will tell you a little bit about it. Go ahead.
Son Nick, our youngest one, is hosting it at his house. He's real excited. Excuse me. He's supposed to get the email that's going to reveal if it's a boy or a girl, a gender. Don't know our son Nick.
Blabbermouth.
Oh, really?
But hopefully, yeah, I think he'll keep it under wraps, I hope. So anyway, the way we're gonna do the reveal is Chuck's gonna do some magic tricks. Yeah, about 4 of them. But at the end, it's gonna be a champagne bottle. Nick will come out and they're gonna do like a champagne bottle popper type thing and reveal if it's a girl or a boy.
Yeah.
Is he coming out of the bottle?
No,
Chuck's gonna pull him by the ears out the bottle. Here's your kid.
We could do that. But it'll be a fun time with some family and friends.
Well, congratulations. You're having what in Italian they say, a little bambino.
I know. I can't wait. Oh, I'm so excited.
That's funny. A buddy of mine, he's having a kid. This will be his second kid. And they're waiting till the child is born to see what gender it is. They did everything, the bedroom neutral and everything. I said, how could you guys not want to know, man? I would want to know.
Yeah, it's everybody's different, I guess,
Yeah,
that would be rough. I mean, we had to know, right? We found out through sonograms and
well, we knew with the first one with Michael. The second one we couldn't tell through the ultrasound. But we didn't have gender reveal parties back then. This is something kind of new.
Yeah, that's a newer thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So this is kind of neat.
You know what it is? It's an excuse for them to get more presents, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And to eat.
Yeah. What I was going to tell you guys is, it's funny. Before you couldn't really tell 100%, but a lot of people would put up, like my cousin. I think she had where she thought it was going to be a girl or something like that.
Oh.
Sorry, a boy. And then what happened, I don't remember, this was a very long time ago. It was, it turned out to be a girl. And I think she, they got everything ready and they were wrong. They spent before it wasn't accurate like now. Now they can tell.
You know what, though? Honestly, she did a blood test that told the sex. So they never had that. We only went by the ultrasounds. That's why with Nicholas, we didn't know. We couldn't see any parts.
Yeah, that's the same.
So, yeah, now they're doing this blood work or gender reveal. It was so they'll know in a couple days. So,
they do. Joe, what did you find out about when you had the twins?
Oh, I don't know. They bounced, man. They left.
They left.
They left. No. Cheri, isn't there something where, like, if a woman's carrying the baby high, it means something. If it's carrying it low, it means another gender.
I think that's what they think. Yeah. High, low's girl, or honestly, they say that the woman's butt would get wider if it's a girl. So maybe I don't know. Who knows? But we'll see what happens. Yeah.
All those urban legends. Yeah.
I know.
If you have it on a full moon, it's a boy. Half a moon, it's a girl.
You know what we feel. As long as it's healthy, we're just thanking God, that it'll just be healthy and Cassie will go through the pregnancy with no trouble. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
he does
be sending out our positive vibes and prayers for
I
them
appreciate
thank
to
you
that.
so much. I
Yes, we will.
appreciate it.
be
Hey,
healthy and happy, and
Yep.
have a small little one, and whether it's a single, a double, triplets, you know,
I
who
know, right?
knows? The twins, do twins or anything run in your guys'
Oh
family?
my gosh.
Yeah, both sides actually. My dad was
wow.
an identical twin.
Oh
My dad
wow.
and my uncle Jerry were both identical twins, and then on
Yeah,
Cassie's side, right?
Cassie's cousins are twins, but honestly, they just did an ultrasound as well in there. Unless it's hidden. You never know. That's happened before.
Yeah, I tell you what, another buddy of mine, he twins run in his family, and he's had 9 kids with his
Oh
wife.
my goodness.
Wow.
And they want to go for number 10. I said, dude, you're
Ooh,
really pushing it, man, with those. I said,
yeah.
you get twins on number 10. I said, you're in trouble. I said, you've made it
Ooh.
9 fine without twins or triplets.
Yeah,
You might not
wow.
want to push it.
Wow. He'll be in the poorhouse too, man.
Yeah,
That's
really.
Wow.
That's
oh
crazy.
my. Yeah, we
He
had
got
two.
he got the youngest one in diapers, and the oldest one is going to be getting married. So
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Oh,
we had
crazy.
two. That was enough, man. I mean, we were able to go on a little bit of a vacation with the kids and do some things and everything. 2 was good. Yeah, that
I
was
have 0. That's enough for me.
that's enough.
You got fur babies, Joe.
Yeah, I've had plenty of those. That's enough. I could barely deal with those.
how old is your friend, Joe?
What's that?
How old is your friend?
The one with 9 kids?
Yeah.
I believe he's 44. I think he's 2 years
Oh,
older than
God
me.
bless
Yeah.
him.
Crazy.
Wow.
Hey,
And
can
my
you
other
guys hear me
buddy
good?
that's having the kid where his wife's pregnant, he's 44 as well.
Can you guys hear me good over here or no?
Yeah, we could hear you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh no, because I was going in and out before. I wasn't sure. 44. That's kind of crazy for 9 kids. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of up in that age where you want to start relaxing, from kids, not having more. But
Yeah,
hey,
I could. You know
each
what? I
grown,
couldn't
man.
imagine. Because kids play basketball, football, whatever, and you got to drive them around everywhere. I couldn't imagine.
And you were playing football with the kids.
Yeah, you know what? We used to go to the cemetery, of course, and we used to play football with the kids and their friends and everything. I couldn't imagine doing that with 9 of them. Oh my
No,
goodness.
yeah, it's crazy. It's a madhouse there, but that's everybody. Some people want 1 or 2, some
Yeah,
want 9 or 10, I guess.
Okay.
that's
I
true.
know.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
You
that
know,
Brady Bunch.
let me bring to the table real quick because we're getting close to Christmas, and I want Joe's intake in this because, as we all know, Joe might have to go Bigfoot hunting soon.
Yeah.
He couldn't get one last week, and he got it trapped with some cameras along the woods, and he might get it this week, right, Joe? Am I correct?
I'm hoping. Yeah, I gotta bounce out of here in a few minutes to head back to the woods to go Bigfoot hunting.
Well,
Either that or I'm going to smoke a cigar with a Bigfoot. Or maybe go watch some TV with a Bigfoot. I don't know, depending on what they want to do.
what I was gonna say to you real quick is we had Al Ballops in the forum, not only here on podcast once. I think he heard it 3 times last week, and he was very intrigued with the fact that he wanted to hear the rest of Cheri. We had talked last week about old toys we had as kids,
Yeah.
especially around the Christmas season. So I thought that we would just really quick ask Joe what were his favorite toys from the past, and Joe also very quick. We want you to put in the most you can, and then they want to hear Cheri.
Good.
Last week we cut off on Cheri, so she left the world waiting to
Oh,
help.
here you go, Cheri. Go ahead.
So here's your time.
Let's talk with Joe first, because
We have to go with Joe first there.
Okay, I'll go. I think my favorite toys that I remember from young were always from Christmas that I always wanted, always waited for, and I still do to this day are GI Joes. That was always my go-to. I was a huge GI Joe fan of the small figures, because I was a child of the '80s, and that's when the small figures were very popular. Now I think like this late '60s to the '70s were the 12-inch ones, but the '80s were the 3 3/4 figures. So those were always huge. I always looked for GI Joes and Masters of the Universe He-Man figures.
Nice.
Those were always at the top of the list, and they still are. So I still love getting GI Joes for Christmas. But that was always my what I always asked Santa, what I always put on my list. And I can remember going to Hill's department store, man, and running through to the toy aisle, and it was just, if anybody remembers Hills, they had the best toy section ever. It was
they were cool.
From floor to ceiling with with
Yeah.
toys, and I still could, vividly picture the GI Joe section with tons of figures. And what's funny is I still have dreams to this day, regular occurring dreams that I'm in heels at the
Yeah.
GI Joe toy section. So yeah, it's really cool. But that's what my go-to toy was for Christmas. So Cheri, what was I'm interested here. What was your go-to toy when you were young?
Yeah, I was telling them I had a really unique toy or whatever. It was called a ShowBoat, and you would do plays, and they had little hard cardboard, like the Wizard of Oz or Cinderella, little figures. Then you would have the script, and you'd be able to like put on little shows. It had like the ShowBoat was open on one side, and it looked like a stage. And because I always thought I wanted to be an actress. And then I wasn't really into like dolls too much, but the one doll that I really wanted and I did get was, I don't know if you know, Chatty Cathy. She was a real big doll, and you'd pull a string and she'd talk a few
Yeah, I
things.
remember that. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
the Chatty Cathy.
yeah, and then I was like also like a tomboy as well. I enjoyed riding my bike. I got a really cool red and white bike for Christmas. It was gorgeous, and it was a two-wheeler. The big, I don't know, 27-inch. I don't know what you would call
Yeah,
it.
probably 26. Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, I enjoyed riding that as well. But I was always outside. I wasn't one to really play with Barbie dolls. Maybe a little bit with my sister. She enjoyed them, and so those are some things that I remember in childhood, my past.
Cheri,
Nice.
did you ever have that doll? Remember that when you cut off the hair, you could keep pulling it out, and you were supposed to give it haircuts, but I'm like, eventually it ran out of hair, right?
I think so. I kind of remember that doll. Yeah,
You-
but I I can't remember the name of it.
No.
Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
sure.
How about you, Joe?
What about the doll?
Joe.
What's that about the doll?
No, not doll. I'm sure you didn't.
Yeah,
have
what was your
doll.
favorite doll, Joe?
I'm saying, your favorite things were only GI Joes.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that when I was young, that's pretty much all I played with was GI Joes. And I always liked plastic, anything that had to do with the military, really, plastic
Yeah.
Yeah.
guns or grenades, military, gear. I don't know if well, Chuck, you guys might have remember Mickey Army Navy store.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I used to tell my tell my parents, anything from Mickey Army Navy store, anything
Mhm.
that had to do with the military, because I was
Yeah.
always fascinated with the military.
Oh, there was some cool stuff in there. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I loved being outdoors, so I was always out playing outdoors, playing Army, playing in the woods. So as long as it had to do with GI Joes or the military type gear, I was all for it. And then especially when Desert Storm and Desert Shield began, I got into the books, the cards, the uniforms, and all that stuff. I was always glued to the TV watching it. So that was pretty much it. And I did get, some Legos here and there, some like I said, some He-Man, some, oh gosh, maybe Transformers, GoBots, some little odd and end toys here and there, but the main chunk of it was GI Joes or like some military stuff that I could use to play with outside. Because at the time, during the summer, a big thing was the sandbox. I don't even know if people still have those anymore, kids.
Yeah, that's
But,
something. I haven't thought about that for years. I don't even know
yeah,
if they still have them.
the
Wow.
sandbox was huge. We had a real big one in the backyard, and all the neighborhood kids would come over, and we would play GI Joes in there. Some of the girls would bring their Barbies or their little oh, what the heck were they? Um, Rainbow Brights or whatever,
Oh
and they would play
yeah,
in there with
yeah.
us, and we'd have like 6-7 kids in there all throughout the neighborhood playing in
Wow.
the sandbox.
Wow.
Oh,
But
my.
I don't know. I don't know if kids do that anymore. I don't
No,
really hear about sandboxes or anything.
no, I don't think so.
I don't
No.
hear. To be honest with you, I don't think so, man. I think that's done away with. I think mostly because how dirty they used to get. The parents had to pick up all the sand that came out of it. I don't know.
I don't think many kids play outside too much anymore. But that was,
No.
we had a big sandbox, a swing set next to it, and then we had this big wood pile in the back that we used to make forts out of. So all the neighborhood kids, we would always play there, and we had a nice big wooded area. Um, let's see, what was it, like a yard over from us. So we were constantly outside, either playing in the woods, the sandbox, doing whatever, riding bikes, and
So
you know,
I guess, did you like snow in Christmas time, or you just like the cold? Or because if you went to play outside, maybe the cold wasn't your favorite.
Oh no, I've always liked the cold and the snow. The snow was the best because we were always still outside in the snow, building snow forts, snowball fights.
Snow forts were so cool.
Yeah,
we used to do those all the time.
my house was on a hill, so we had a nice on each side of the house. We had a nice hill for sled riding, and it was just like summer. We were outside, from morning to night. It didn't matter if it was rain, snow, or shine. Different generation, which you guys, I'm sure, were the same way. But today you don't see that much anymore. Sadly,
it's 10 after Joe.
No, sadly now it's the.
Hey, good job, Cheri, because I wasn't paying attention. I'm like deep in thought right now, thinking about reminiscing about young days. I'm like, man, those were some good times.
Yeah, you gotta go out and get that Sasquatch, man.
Bro, you just reminisce.
I'm going to build forts with Sasquatch and go play army with Sasquatch and the kids. But yeah, guys, I gotta go. Wish I could stay on longer. So everybody out there in podcast land, enjoy yourselves. You're definitely in good hands with these three, and I will see you guys next week. And make sure everyone checks us out on the forum, House of the Unusual. There's a lot of cool stuff going on out there, and I put up a new thread the other day real quick about Christmas life. So I want to see your guys' Christmas trees, your decorations, your ornaments, all that good stuff, man. I want to see what you guys are doing for Christmas. I posted some cool pictures of some vintage Christmas stuff I got up there. So make sure you guys check that out.
Okay.
All right, Chuck, Cheri, Eddie, I will see you guys next week.
Okay, we'll talk to you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, I hope Sasquatch doesn't get him, though.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
They don't like being trapped, you know what I mean?
Hey, Eddie, I just wanted to mention that link you sent me of the gizmo, that's pretty fascinating. You know what? If any of the listeners, maybe you can post it on your forum or something. It's pretty amazing. It was in 1956, I believe, right? This kid built.
Yeah, actually, if anybody interested, they can. I actually have the plans up for sale on eBay. Copies I made, hard copies of the plans for the gizmo.
Right.
But gizmo was back in the day. Of course, young boys used to be a little different than today, where they only play video games. Back then, they would get ahead, and especially building robots. Kid loved that. Even when I was a kid, I mean, of course, when I was a kid, I'm talking about the 50s because that's when Gizmo first was invented. But when I was a kid, building robots were one of my favorite things ever. But what I was going to say to you is if you go to the history of Boys Life magazine, you'll notice that I think it was 1957, somebody introduced I think it was like 5 feet tall, kind of life-size Gizmo, the robot. And they made 3 versions of it after 1957. I think they had one in 1980 something, and then in 2000 and something they've had like 3 or 4 different plans for that robot. Chuck.
Wow. I'll tell you that was something. The one from 56. I mean, it was pretty neat. It walked forward. Its eyes lit up and stuff, and the kid was controlling it with a little panel next to it. You know what? Check it out on YouTube as well. You sent me the link if any of the listeners want to see this thing in action. That's kind of neat.
Chuck, you said I think it rolled forward. The hands moved. I don't think it walked, did it?
No, it just rolled. You know what? The motors were kind of big by today's standards. Yeah, they were like low RPM gear motors. I mean, but for 1956, that kid did a pretty good job.
Yeah, there's several examples in that video I sent you, I think.
Yeah, that was neat. That was really cool.
Yeah. And one thing, like I say, Chuck, for you, that's that's like a cheese to a mouse.
Yeah, you know what? Boy, that sure brings back memories because when I was a kid, I used to take everything apart, and my dad would always say, "Quit taking things apart," Yeah, but I'd say, "Papa, someday this is going to make me $1 million." Boy, was I wrong, huh?
Well, you never know. Might still make you $1 million. Cheri, how about you? Did you ever do any of that stuff when you were a kid, other than just play with your theater?
Play with what?
You play with your theater. Yeah. Did you try building things when you were young, or did you like things that moved? I mean, did you like anything robotic? Did you like anything
really. I guess not. We did. I liked games, skate outside, ride my bike, play. I don't know. We put on plays and different things outside,
Oh,
and
that's neat.
yeah, climb trees, play army with the boys.
Yeah, you were.
Okay.
Wow.
It was kind of funny because I remember saying that a lot of the girls would say the girl toys were kind of boring and the boy toys were cool.
Yeah. The GI Joes. I'd like those too.
That was Cheri, one thing I'm going to tell you, especially when it comes is, and this is kind of interesting because when you brought before up the subject of the ShowBoat,
yes,
the ShowBoat was like a thing. Now a lot of people, and I'm sure not just me, because I used to love puppets and stuff. I used to watch Sesame Street all the time, and the Electric Company, but what I was going to say, I always wanted to make a puppet theater because obviously that's something that a lot of people always, as kids, they would have puppets in school, and everybody thought it was kind of cool when they did those little stages and the puppets were talking and all that stuff. Well, I came across a couple of days ago the story of a Sesame. This was kind of funny and sad at the same time because the lady who played the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, what was her name, Chuck?
Was it Margaret?
Yeah, was that Margaret Hamilton?
Yes, that's right, Margaret Hamilton. She was a teacher, I think, most of her life, and she loved to do things that would help kids as a teacher, of course. So they asked her to make an appearance of the Wicked Witch of the West in Sesame Street. It was titled episode 487, I believe. And what happened is that the show, once it came out, it aired one time only, and then they banned it for life.
Whoa.
The reason, because half of the parents were, writing in and very upset over the fact that their kids got scared stiff with the Margaret. So she actually, instead of helping kids, she scared people. And the funny thing about it is that I said to myself, Margaret is to the Wicked Witch as Bela Lugosi is to Dracula, and Boris Karloff is to Frankenstein, because anybody who sees a witch, in back of their mind, for some reason, they picture her. Yeah. And I think they made a lot of the remakes of witches, like in Bugs Bunny and all that stuff, based on her.
Yeah, that's true.
They look like her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she always had that stigma attached. Boy, she played a good witch, man. She had that.
That's what I'm saying. She's still witches, but she scared the bazookas out of kids. Finally, there was a guy that started tracking the show down and tracked it. And finally, there was a private, I don't know where, and then there was a leak. And it leaked on the internet, and some people were able to copy the full episode. It so happened that I got lucky about a couple of days ago that the episode was still on, I guess, because they're trying to take it down each time, because for whatever reason.
Ooh, that would be cool. Wow.
There's stories about it on YouTube. You can actually hear stories how the Children's Television Workshop, who owns Sesame Street, has tried to keep the show under wraps. And well, anyway, it's a funny show because I did watch it. What happens is she plays a part where she's flying over, of course, over the neighborhood, and her broom falls off. Yeah. And I think Mr. Cooper finds him. Not Mr. Cooper, David, the guy who played David in the show.
Yeah, I know.
Finds the broom. And then she comes down, but she's asking for the broom back. But the problem is, as long as a human is touching the broom, she can't get it.
Yeah.
So David doesn't want to give it to her unless she says an apology, because she's acting rude. And she promises to turn, I think, Big Bird into a duster, all this stuff. But it's really funny, though, because it became, like the show has never aired. And I thought to myself, I wonder if I saw it when it first aired in 1976, or 74, I think.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Wow.
It is an interesting thing, but it was fun to watch, because as I was watching, I remembered every part of that. Like the different segments they had. Yeah. And if you guys are familiar with the Jeffersons, that funny white guy that would always come to the
yeah,
borrow some sugar.
Yeah, Tom, was it Tom Willis, maybe, the neighbor?
I don't know. No, I don't know if it was something like that. But yeah, it might have been Tom. I forgot the name of him, but he's the guy in Sesame Street that you always see, like he wants to paint.
Oh, I know who you mean. No, that was Mr. Bentley.
Yeah, Mr. Bentley, that's right. Mr. Bentley, right.
Yeah. Yeah, he played
the English guy. That's right, Mr. Bentley. That's right. Yep. Now, well, yeah, when you said Willis, Mr. Bentley, It's the guy in Sesame Street that was always trying to paint the number.
Paint the numbers, right.
And I remember one time he was painting the number 8, and some guy had a bald spot in his head, and he's lying on by a pool. He just comes and he paints the 8 on top of the guy's head. And then he goes 8, and then the guy starts chasing him around.
Oh, man. That was hilarious. I love the original Sesame Streets. They were... They were fantastic. Grover was cool. I love Grover. Back when he was a waiter in that restaurant.
That's what I saw too. They had the
that's the classic one there, man.
Yeah, if you hear the one that if you're able to go online, or if not, I'm gonna have to make a copy for you, Chuck.
Oh, I'd love
if you go online and you watch it, they have the part there of Grover, and he
that was
with the big bull-headed guy.
That was so cool. Yep.
He says, I wanted what is it, an alphabet soup.
Yeah.
I said, well, it's missing the word A or the letter A. So Grover goes, oh, I got you. He goes back and gets it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
That was the best one, and then the Count was pretty cool too.
Oh, I liked him too. Yeah.
I always loved the Count.
My sister
the Count was my favorite because the Count reminded me mostly of Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi, yeah. Hey, but getting back to Margaret Hamilton, when she was in The Wizard of Oz, I mean, I know they put the green makeup on her, but did they actually add something to her chin? Her nose, or was that all her face like that?
I think it was her. No, they did add some of it, I believe, Chuck.
Yeah, because that was unbelievable. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she did have a schnozzle that matched the character, though.
Yeah, that big chin, that pointy chin, and that nose. Oh my goodness. And I do remember her in the 70s. I guess when I was around maybe 10 or something, the early 70s, she was Cora on Maxwell House.
Maxwell House,
Yeah, that was neat.
Maxwell House or Maxwell Smart?
Maxwell House Coffee.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. She was Cora. I should say it's good to the last drop, I guess. Is it? Yeah.
That is correct. I never realized that until you just said that right now, Chuck.
Okay.
That's funny. Yeah, you're right. It was her.
Yeah.
The problem is that when she aged, of course, she still looked, but she did make a good. If you look at her as an old person, she would remind me of a teacher that you would see in The Little Rascals.
Oh, absolutely.
With her makeup and all that stuff. But I can tell you though, even in The Wizard of Oz, as a kid, what kind of scared me was her. Like she definitely played a wicked witch. Good. I mean,
man, she was the best. And then those monkeys, the flying
monkeys were scary too.
Yeah, those flying monkeys scared the crap out of me, man.
No,
but I think the leader was Nico, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't his name Nico? I think the leader monkey.
I believe it was, but the thing with Margaret that I want to say though, the way she spoke, even in the Sesame Street character, when she's playing there the witch and stuff, and she's almost an identical twin to the, even though she's years older to the original, when she did it down
right
in the day. I mean, it's just amazing how some people can be typecast and do such a good job that they become that person forever.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's I guess what she kept you putting on the witch costume throughout the years.
Yeah,
because that's probably what she did the best. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you figure, like you said, that was 1977 on Sesame Street, and that was 1939 from The Wizard of Oz.
That's a long time.
Yeah, that's 38 years later. I mean, wow, that's quite a while.
And talking about you're right. Talking about that one person that actually, when we talk about typecast, Maxwell Smart was another one when he played Get Smart. Don Adams. One of the things that, and we were talking about games last week based on him and stuff. And if you look at him, his career, he had the regular Maxwell Smart and stuff, but then they had Inspector Gadget spinoff.
That's true.
Which was funny. Inspector Gadget was a heck of a show. I think they used him as a voiceover on it. If I'm correct. But the thing is that it was an identical thing to the real life show. And it was a cool cartoon where the cat was always doing everything. He was kind of like the buffoon type of guy. And anybody out there, me and my son is now 29, of course. But when he was about 24, 25, we watched every season of Get Smart, one episode at a time. And we did it like in 4 weeks or so, because it's got a couple of seasons. And he was cracking up, like he loved the show.
Yeah, he did.
And then you see how they stereotype people in the show, which is really funny.
Oh yeah.
Today that would that wouldn't be welcome too much. But
No, there was a lot of people too that that we recognize from different things. Bernie Coppell, Doc from the Love Boat, he was on there quite a bit. I remember.
Yeah, he was. He always played the German guy.
Yep, he played the German guy. Vic Tayback, who played Mel on Mel's Diner, he was on there quite a bit. I mean,
there was quite a few characters, you're right? And there was the funniest one was the one that played the Japanese.
Oh, it's hilarious.
He would always talk like really, but you know what? Overall, he went on to make several commercials for different games from Aurora and games from I think it was, well, they had Skittle Bowling, Skittle this, and he was, he became popular with the commercials as well. So one of the things I think too, he's kind of like when you see him pick up his shoe to speak on the phone, and now we actually have cell phones, and we have watch phones. It reminds me because back in the early days of mail order, I'm talking about like really early. I always tell people the golden days of mail order happened between early, like maybe 69 or 68 through about 1982, 84, and then that finished. Yeah. But in the early 70s, that's like really, really when mail order took off. Mm-hmm. I think between 1970 to 1979, you would buy a Boys Life magazine and you had like 4 pages of mail order novelties.
Oh yeah.
All the jokes and magic and tricks you can order. And that's where I grew up, Chuck, and you grew up. And that's why I'm kind of stuck in that era.
Yeah.
But in the early 60s, not early, let's go back late 60s, like 65, 66, they used to have the wrist phone radios, all that stuff that I think were kind of like spy stuff.
Spy things, yeah.
Agent Zero, they had...
Spy Pen.
Right, the spy pen and spy stuff became very popular. Dick Tracy, where you can mail in for his decoder ring, and well, that stuff was early 70s or late 60s. By 1970, the Dick Tracy decoder ring that you could send away for the Superman ring and stuff like that really weren't seen that much. They did stay on to like 1971, 72, but then that's when, the monster-sized monsters came in, and which is the Frankenstein and Boney the Skeleton, and the original 6-foot Frankenstein and Dracula was still being sold, but they were the 6-foot Frankenstein and Dracula. It aired first in 1964, I believe 66, in back of, I forgot what year exactly it was, but it came out, I think it was 64. Where it was introduced in Famous Monsters of Filmland, issue number 126, that has the Outer Limits in the cover.
Yeah.
I think that's the first ad that it actually ran, or it might have been in other magazines at the time, like Creepy and Eerie, that were around. They feature, they would sell them. But then of course, the Captain Company was pretty big in Famous Monsters, always selling the mask and the monsters and the model kits, and they just dominated the scene. And then as the 1970s got later on, like in 1974 and 75, the 7-foot Monster Ghost was being sold by about 6 different companies at the time.
Yeah.
And then the Frankenstein, the green one that we grew up with, and the Skeleton, Boney and Frank, were sold originally in 1970 by Johnson Smith. Then Honor House took over with it and sold it for the next 10 years. But it's kind of fun, and the reason I'm bringing those years up and stuff is because a lot of us, when we look at toys that we see, especially that were advertised on television and stuff, and we look at novelties. Of course, you never saw a novelty advertised in television. That's why the X-ray glass was so popular. You couldn't go to a store and get them.
No, you're right.
You order them on the mail. You couldn't find a Joy Buzzer in any store.
Yeah.
Even though rarely, if you were lucky to live next to one, which is kind of funny because me being in New York and New Jersey, SS Adams,
right,
were very big in many places where they would put up display cases in magic shops and stuff.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I never saw one growing up until probably I got married, and then Toys R Us started getting racks, and you would, and that's what made SS Adams popular, were the racks. So
remember back in the early to mid 70s, we had a Woolworths not far from us, and yeah, they would get a rack every once in a while, and it was the coolest stuff. It was the blister carded Abbott, the Atom stuff, like you said. It had the little multiplying sponge rabbits, the joy buzzers, all the neat stuff. It was cool.
The
That
whoopee
wasn't.
cushions.
Whoopee cushions, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, the whoopee. But you know what I wanted to tell you? Those racks actually, for some reason, were not available in New York City, where I grew up.
Wow.
And in New Jersey, you wouldn't see them. And in fact, I remember, I'll never forget this. I was walking on Broadway with my grandmother, and I came into a little Chinese store on Broadway. I think I forgot, it was like 170 something street. And actually, no way. It was actually past 180th Street on Broadway. And this little store, I go inside and I saw a joy buzzer. That's the first time I ever saw a real joy buzzer.
Okay.
I must have been like 7, 8 years old,
Uh,
or maybe 6, 7 years old. And when I saw it, it was 50 cents, man. And it was the metallic, cheap Chinese version.
right.
So I think it was said made in Hong Kong, if I remember.
Mhm.
And that particular, I got to tell you something. I got it. It was 50 cents. I was so excited.
Yeah.
I thought at that time, reading the comics, that he actually gave an electric shock.
Right.
Because, when you see the kid is jumping
Yeah.
up in the air when he's
Right.
shaking, and I didn't know it was just a buzzing sound, but I bought it, and I think I wound it like 2 times, and then it broke, right?
Oh, my
And it
goodness.
made me very sad.
Oh yeah. Hey Eddie, way back in the early 70s, I'll never forget this. I sent for 5 magazines. It was in the back of a magazine. I'm not sure which ones they were. They were $1 a piece. I saved my allowance. I took pop bottles to stores. I got up to $5, and so we wrote out the order, and my mother got the money, and we made a money order. I sent it. I never got it, and that was 1970. I guess I'm still waiting. It's only been 50 years.
What were the magazines about?
It was some kind of scary stuff. You know what? It just looked so cool, and there were, and so some dishonest cretin out there
Well,
kept the $5 money order, and I just
Never sent your
never
books.
sent the books. And back in those days, I mean, it was harder to keep track of things. You couldn't really
Yeah.
trace a lot of things like nowadays. 50 years
yeah,
ago.
you don't know if they were sent it to the wrong address, and sometimes, you know what?
Yeah,
I got this experience when I got with Lou Weiss, and we revamped Fun Factory back in the 80s.
yeah.
When the orders came in, man, they were handwritten by little kids, and
Little
it was
kids.
pretty tough, man.
Hard to read. Yeah.
Oh my God, was it? I still have all the original envelopes, which is so.
Oh, that's nice.
I saved the shoebox. I actually have 2 shoeboxes with several thousand orders inside.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good idea, Eddie. You could sit down some night and just look at
I
those
actually,
things.
I've done it, and it's amazing how the writing was. But Chuck, what I wanted to also say, when you're saying, I ordered as a kid in back of Harvey Comics, they used to sell, I think it was 5 records and 5 comic books. Oh, you get 10 records. I remember it was 5. I think it was 5 of Richie Rich, Casper.
Yeah.
And they had like 45s, and they had songs like Casper, what you doing on, things like that, which was funny. And I kept those records. Today, I only have about 3 or 4 of the original, because I lost in the fire that I had all of them, but I was able to obtain 2 or 3. I'm not too sure if I have that many of those original records. And you know what? They're phenomenal. But at that time, for the $5, that was a bargain, because you got 5 45s.
Yeah, really.
And you got 5 and I think it was like $1 shipping, 5 comics. But one thing I wanted to also tell you is, those were the years when there were such toys that came out, and I'm sure Cheri remembers them. And so, you remember Gunfight at OK Corral?
Oh, I actually had that. That was cool. That was neat.
Do you remember that, Cheri?
No, I don't.
That's the one that you had 2 guns in each side, and you had it was like a rectangular board.
That was
And you
neat.
shot at each other
Mhm.
through this. What was it, like a ball bearings, like big ball bearings?
Exactly. It was ball bearings. I think there was targets that flipped or something, wasn't there?
No. What happened was, if you remember with Gunfighter OK Corral, you had a cowboy on each gun, and you
That's it.
flipped it on with a spring that was in the bottom of the gun, and then you put the gun in each side. You had a cactus and
That's
a
it.
rock. You had the town on each side, like 2 plastic towns. You clipped onto the board, and then you shot at each other. You got to hide behind the cactus or the.
That was it. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I actually had that. That was so cool.
That was, that was actually one. That's probably one of my favorite games, other than the one I mentioned last week.
Yeah,
But
that was cool. And I had Gnip Gnop, And it finally,
Oh yes,
I
yes.
just figured out about a year ago it's spelled ping pong backwards. I never thought of that when I
Oh,
was a kid.
really?
Yeah, it just hit me about a year ago.
What's that about?
It was the ball bearing type of thing where you would shoot and you shoot different targets, and there was rotating, spinning things, and
Oh.
there was a gun that you held up to a transparent plexiglass panel, and the ball bearings would be magnetized. They'd stick to the gun, and then when you pulled the trigger, there was a piece that went in and out real quick, and it would pulse, and it would push the ball bearings, and you'd shoot different things. I believe, wasn't that, or am I mixed up with something else, Eddie?
I think that wasn't called Ganip Ganap. Ganip Ganap, I think, was a different one. The one you're
Oh, that
talking
was the
about-
balls where you hit with the pat where you hit with the buttons. Yeah,
Right. No. The one you're talking about is, I remember, it's about the size, a little bit, I don't know, like not a shoebox, but it was like a triangular plastic thing. It was in yellow.
It was
or
a shooting.
red.
It was some type of a shooting gallery.
Right. It had a shooting gallery, but it was kind of funny though, because it had slots in the front. And what you did is you took a pistol and you went up to the BB or the ball bearing,
The small ball
and you
bearing.
lifted it up to where you wanted to shoot. And then when you pulled the trigger up against the plastic,
Exactly.
the trigger would, snap, a thing would snap and would hit the ball, shoot the ball inside plastic.
Yeah, that was cool. I had that too, and I had Ganip Ganap, but that shooting gallery was fun. It was really neat.
Well, there was also another one that came out during that time, Chuck. But this one, the only problem that this one had for some reason, even that particular one lasted more, even though it was kind of, crappy the way you had to lift up the ball and shoot the thing.
Yeah.
But there was another one that was actually, it was a shooting gallery, and it had a machine gun that would shoot BBs.
Oh,
it was battery operated, and it was red with 4 plastic legs that would come off the table. And inside you had a ghost in the end, a bopping head ghost.
That was
had
neat.
metallic. You remember those metallic ducks? And then when you put batteries, it would go like, that sound, and it would shoot the BBs at all the targets. The only problem that had is where the shooting, the machine gun was located in the front of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a plastic thing that kept the BBs from falling out as you moved but the plastic thing, every time you moved the machine gun around, like to the left and right, eventually broke off and fell off. And you would have the BBs coming out where the machines, because what would happen is that when you shot it, if you remember, it would go, but then the BBs will all settle and come down and automatically slip back into the machine gun.
I do remember that. Yeah.
The bottom was open, so it would just keep shooting over and over and over, and it would self-load. You just waited for it to go, go like, you could hear like go tick, 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 and you keep shooting again. That was phenomenal. In fact, I was able to repurchase that item, which unless I lost it in the fire, I still have it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really phenomenal item. And my favorite part of it was the shooting end. And I think the part that I liked the most was the part that had like a ghost, I think it was, with a bopping head.
That was neat.
You would hit it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but those were very popular at the time, Chuck. And
yeah, they were very popular. Yeah. Hey, but I'm still waiting for my magazines. Come on, it's been 50 years. Send them.
You're not
getting the money.
She said I'm not getting the money. No, I don't think so.
I know a similar story of somebody who ordered the Polaris submarine and they're still waiting for it to this day.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, I was so disappointed. No kidding. I said, "Where's my magazines?" Yeah.
Hey, when I ordered my 7-foot Ghost from Honor House, I gotta admit, man, that thing was like 3 months. I think it went over 8 weeks, if I remember to get.
Is that right?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like, you're like, but I don't recall ever not getting something. That's the funny thing. I never lost anything I ordered.
Mm-hmm.
It got to me. It was the same mailman, of course, for years and years, probably till I even left New York City. He was still the mailman there. And, so I always got my mail. I'm sure he knew what was mine. And
right.
But I got to tell you, though, I'll never forget when I first got my first Monster Ghost in Honor House, man. That was actually my very first mail order item ever received. And it came in a 6x9 yellow envelope. Okay. And I was looking for a box.
Oh, you were expecting a box 7 feet tall. I know.
And somehow, but I still believe that my 7-foot thing was in there. Like I looked at that envelope and it was squishy because it was a plastic inside.
Yeah.
And then when I took it out, I remember very clearly the instructions were wrapped around the ghost with a rubber band. So basically, the instructions were like, an 8.5 by 11 regular standard sheet of paper folded in half, right?
Yeah.
But it would just be the fold in half. You wouldn't have the full paper, be like half the paper. And it was folded around the plastic. Inside the plastic, when you took it apart, you had the balloon and the invisible control line and the glow in the dark eyes. And it had a rubber band around it. One thing that I'll never forget, which, oh gosh, I someday somebody might have an honor house ghost out there. I mean, I do have my original honor house ghost, the one that that everybody saw in mail order mystery. That's one my Melton ghost, which is the one I ordered after the first one. Okay.
Right.
But the very first one, my head popped and I was devastated. And the way that happened, I think I just put it together one day, and we had now everybody knows in New York City the buildings are 100 years old, so we had a gas light. It wasn't really a gas light anymore. They had they had made it into an electrical light, but it had where you put the bottom where you tie in the plate that goes on the upside down plate and you screw in the ceiling lights, and I put the ghost string through that hoop. It had
I got you.
And when the ghost got a little high, the light bulb touched it and pow!
It popped.
Oh my gosh, I was devastated.
Yeah,
Like Casper the Friendly Ghost face, man.
I bought those dinosaurs, Eddie. I remember I was expecting a big box. It was like those 6 dinosaurs. They're supposed to be remote controlled.
7 dinosaurs, 7 gigantic dinosaurs. That was same thing as the monster ghost.
Yeah. So I told my parents, I said, there's going to be a big box coming here, and it was a little envelope, and I opened it. I said, what? And it was balloons with flat cutout feet that you.
Well, you see, mine are actually pictured. I still have mine, and they're actually pictured in.
Is in the book, yeah.
In the book.
You know what, Eddie? I was the biggest sucker, and so I pulled that out. I put it together, and I can remember my mom saying, "Quit buying this stuff. What's wrong with you?" And I was a sucker. Oh.
But you know what's funny when you say that though, Chuck, and everything like that. Even with the monster ghosts and stuff, what I even mentioned before, the instructions that came with the Honor House ghost were one of a kind. Yeah, they actually had a photograph of a ghost, and I'll never forget this. There was like a rocking chair in a dark room, and there was a window it was like light outside, but it was just enough light coming into the room where the ghost was just standing like flying right next to the chair.
Right.
It was a scary looking thing.
It was cool. It was cool.
It was cool. It was so cool that when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is cool.
Oh yeah, some of those graphics. Hey, how about the Gale House record? That little creepy monster on that record label was unbelievable, man.
Well, the thing that was funny about that creepy guy though, it was better, and that's a funny thing about that. When you look at the Honor House, the ad in Honor House was okay, but when you got the actual instructions for the monster ghost, they were unlike anything I've seen. And I wish, like I said, I could come across a sheet somewhere because I would definitely pay a lot of money to get that. I want to see the original photograph. But one thing I'm going to tell you with what you just said right now, the Gale House has a phenomenal looking ad. It's a beautiful ad. You can't beat it. But when you got the actual record, it was just a little face in black and white, not too much graphics on it.
No.
It actually is more graphical on the comic ad on the record, and then it came in a white plain sleeve.
It did. It was a plain sleeve. You're right.
Yeah, it didn't have much anything, and which is kind of surprising because people don't realize this, but the Gale House, which is Gayle, Gale House,
right,
that sold that record, also used to have a couple of full page and half page advertisements of different products. I'm surprised. I mean, not that I ever heard of or know, but a lot of companies failed, including Honor House, to send catalogs when they sent orders. Now, Honor House was big in catalogs in the 40s, and they produced quite a few because I own over 47 original Honor House catalogs. Yeah. But the ones that made the most money for Honor House was when they printed the 22 by 24 inch flyers.
Oh, those were great.
And, I have 3 of the originals of those,
Those were so cool.
But you know what I don't understand, Chuck, about it though is I ordered from Honor House several times, and I would say out of 10 times, only 2 times did it have a catalog inside.
Only 2 times. That was neat.
So
Yeah.
you know, you're it's surprising to see. Again, I think they made so much money in their comic book ads that they didn't need to include
They didn't need to. Yeah. That
I
was so cool.
don't know
I think they were printed in red ink, if I'm not mistaken. Were they red ink?
No, they were not printed. They were just black and white, not
black
red.
and white. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That was so cool.
Johnson Smith also, like, you know, you would buy things from Johnson Smith. It would tell you if you want the catalog, send 25 cents.
Right.
But you never got a free catalog in an order.
No.
Which is kind of bizarre because then again, that's what made their back ends. Like, the reason a lot of, especially in the early 80s and even to the late 80s, all companies, and I remember learning everything I did and reading books about mail order, they would always tell you, make sure you include a catalog.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In the 70s, a lot of those. So the Gale House, I don't think ever sent out a catalog or a flyer.
No,
in
I don't
fact,
remember.
if you notice, their ads disappeared altogether.
Oh, yeah.
Only the record was the thing they always constantly sold.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest. It was a phenomenal ad.
Oh, yes, it was.
It's over for a haunting.
Yep. Hey, not to interrupt you, but I think we're about a minute left, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. See how time flies?
Or possibly 2.
We actually we have a couple. Yeah, we're okay. Not a minute. We have about 5 minutes left to go. So
really?
Cheri, tell us your mail order history, Cheri. You got anything you could tell us?
Yeah, my sea monkeys, remember?
Oh my God, you're still waiting for them?
No, I'm still waiting for them. I pitched in with a girl named Marlene. And I don't know. It was supposed to come to her house. She said she never got them. I believed her. I don't know. Chuck thinks I was scammed by her. Who knows?
Probably that's probably what I think happened because kids would have done that.
Maybe so. It was about that. Yeah. That's 6th grade. Yeah.
Here's my question. Did Todd ever make good on that?
Todd, mind you, with his
no. No. We never.
Because I believe we had spoken about having a set sent to you, and then you would try to grow them and take pictures to see what happened.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Actually, guess what? One set is being sent to you as we speak right now.
Oh, really?
Yes, and we're gonna have to make sure that you take pictures so that Todd, even though we're gonna have to bring it up to his attention that he ruined your childhood, even though it wasn't him, you know? But we're going to blame him because he's the CEO now for the Sea Monkeys.
There you go.
We want to blame him for everything that goes with
poor
the Sea
Todd.
Monkeys. Yeah. So we definitely have to do that. So
sounds good. But otherwise, I don't think I really was too much into the mail orders on the back of the comics.
You used to read Archie.
Yeah, I used to read Archie.
Archie had a lot of ads.
Especially at the doctor's offices. They always had that, you know. But I wasn't really into too many comics as well. But
the Archies, I have about 3,000 Archies.
I probably read them at one time in my life. Yeah, isn't that funny?
They're filled with ads, though. They're filled with a lot of ads.
Yeah, I guess I just never. I would think about it like those X-ray glasses or spy things, you know, but I never did send off for anything except those Sea Monkeys.
Except the Sea Monkeys, and then you were had with it, so you.
And I said, forget it. I'm not sending for anything else.
as time is closing, you know, another thing that I'm gonna. Do you guys remember all the binoculars you could always order in mail?
Oh yeah, those were neat. Yeah.
First, it started with the spy pen. That everybody sold the spy pen, and then the binoculars. I think they were $2.98, and it promised you could see up to 50 miles away.
Oh yeah. That was something.
Crazy.
Yeah, I love the way they just see 50 miles, see up to 2 miles, how many miles, and then you guys remember the folding binoculars that fold into like a little.
Oh yeah, those were cool. Yeah,
they folded down to like a little purse, not a purse, but like a little, did you just fold and then you clicked open it looked like a wallet.
Yeah, those were neat. Remember those? They would snap shut and you push a little metal button and it pop open. Yep.
Well, one last one I want to see if you, Cheri, remember. Do you guys remember that they used to sell a pair of glasses that were like binoculars?
Oh, I remember. Yeah. They had like a conical type of thing sticking out of.
Right.
Yeah, I
And then you would turn a thing on your eye thing, and then it would go forward. So it was binoculars, but they were actually eyeglasses.
I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, those binoculars, believe it or not, Honor House took it to the next level where they actually created 2 round discs, and they put a feather in it, and they called them X-ray binoculars. But anyway, guys, we come to an end. Another beautiful week. We're a couple of days away from Christmas now. 3 weeks away, right?
Yeah.
So having said that, any last words, guys?
No, everybody have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, God willing, we'll see you. Talk to you guys next week.
All right. God bless. Good night, guys.
Okay. Good night.
Good
Bye-bye.
night. Bye-bye. God bless.
Bye.